Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm at Hiroshima Station, just one stop from Hiroshima Station. But unusually maybe, I'm not here for trains. I'm going to go and see Hiroshima Castle, which is only maybe 10 minutes walk from here. So, let's go and see. So here we are at Hiroshima Castle. Now, if you've been watching my videos for some time, you may know this, but I've lived in Hiroshima for nearly 30 years now. So you might ask, why am I visiting the castle today? Well, of course, I've visited before many times. But there's something a little bit special. You see, the castle is closing next weekend. The 22nd of March, I think. Basically, the tower is old now, and I think there are some concerns about how safe it would be in the event of an earthquake. So, whilst the grounds of the castle will still be open, the castle itself will no longer be accessible a week from now. So, I'm here today just to take one last look around the grounds before the castle itself closes. I don't think I'm going to go into the castle itself because, judging by reports on the news and on the internet for that matter, there are rather large crowds, presumably with the same intent as me, to see the castle one more time before it closes. So, it'll just be a look around the grounds, but do you want to come with me? Well, let's go. While I'm strolling around the moat of the castle, let me give you a little bit of the history. So, Hiroshima Castle is also called hirajiro, or Carp Castle. And in fact, that's why the baseball team is called Hiroshima Carp. Obviously, this is not the original castle. The original was destroyed in 1945 in the atomic bombing, as were many of Hiroshima's historical sites. The original castle was built in the late 1500s by Mōri Terumoto, who was the lord of this area of Japan. The castle is something called a hirajiro, which is a flatland castle as opposed to a castle built on a mountain. The current castle is a reconstruction from 1958 and, well, unfortunately it's concrete, not the wood of the original building. The inside of the castle is now a museum to Hiroshima's history, and, well, as we saw, there are boat trips around the moat on certain days, not every day, Okay, let's cross the moat and go inside the actual castle grounds. The castle and its grounds are pretty much in the centre of the city. In fact, the tram stop for the atomic bomb dome, which is now called Genbaku Domo Mae, was called, before the atomic bombing, Yagura Shita, which means by or sort of under the Yagura, which is the Japanese for the tower of a castle. Well, if you've ever been to Hiroshima, you'll know that the atomic bomb dome is very much in the center of the city. So you can see that the castle's moats originally went all the way to where the atomic bomb dome is now, basically. It's about maybe a 10-minute walk from here to the atomic bomb dome, maybe just a little bit less. So you can see that first, the castle is pretty much in the center of the city, but also you can see that the grounds were originally pretty big. They're less big now, but even so, they're still fairly large, and they're very pleasant to walk around, despite the fact that the castle is in the very center of the city. So you might ask, if the castle is closing in a few days now, what happens after that? Well, the castle itself, the castle building, the main keep, is going to be closed because, as I said, I think there are doubts about whether it would be safe if there were an earthquake. Fair enough. Now, the city, Hiroshima City, is still discussing what happens. So I think they're basically decided that the castle will be rebuilt, but now what is being discussed is whether it will be rebuilt in concrete as it is now, or whether it will be rebuilt as what you might call an original castle, so in wood as it was originally before the atomic bombing. I saw on the news the other day that first of all, it's going to take about 5 years to survey the whole structure and make a final decision about what to do. And I saw on the news the other day that if it's decided that the castle will be rebuilt in wood, then it will probably take until 2049. And it will cost billions of yen. Billions and billions of yen. I personally would say that the city council, whoever's making the decision, would decide to go with a concrete castle. Although I'm sure even a concrete castle wouldn't be cheap. But obviously, I'm not the person making the decisions. I rather hope they do go with a wooden castle because it would be rather beautiful. The only slight problem is I would be 75 when the castle reopens, so whether I get to see it is, well, anyone's guess, really. I think if they did go with a wooden castle rather than a concrete castle, there would be quite a few economic benefits from tourism. And the example which was quoted on the news the other day was Ozu Castle in Shikoku, which was rebuilt as a wooden castle and now has quite a lot of economic benefit for the city where it is. So, okay, maybe a wooden castle is more expensive than a concrete castle, but maybe in the end it might be a better option. I don't know, and as I say, I don't make the decisions. More is the pity. But whatever they decide, it's going to take a good few years before Hiroshima has a castle which is open to the public again. Let's put it that way. I mean, it is a shame. I can see why it needs to be closed for the sake of safety, especially if there is an earthquake. But it is a shame that something which has been here for so many hundreds of years, and, well, even in its present form, for, 70 odd years now, is no longer going to be accessible from next weekend, basically. It does make me feel a little bit sad. Not sad enough, unfortunately, though, to queue and try and get inside one more time. I remember reading somewhere once that in the atomic bombing, the whole castle, the thing you can see behind me just there, was picked up bodily, and the whole castle was basically flung to one side of the castle grounds by the force of the atomic bombing. Now, I've never been able to find that piece of information again, and so I can't be sure whether it's actually true or not, or just a figment of my imagination. But if it is true, then it really does show the horrific power, the horrific force of the atomic bomb. It's quite a sobering thought, really, because a castle is a fairly substantial piece of, weight, really, architecture, weight. It's not something you can just pick up and move easily. But if what I read is right, the atomic bomb actually managed exactly that. If you do know whether that information is correct or not, please do leave a comment and let me know whether I'm right or whether I was just imagining things. Thanks. You know, thinking about it, it's a real shame that the castle is closing at the end of next week, or this week even, rather than, let's say, the end of next month. Because wandering around the castle grounds, it's very clear that the cherry blossom is not that far from opening now. Now, obviously, the castle grounds will still be open and accessible even after next week. But even so, it would have been nice to see the cherry blossom in the grounds from the top of the castle one more time. Still, it's not to be. Unfortunate, but I guess unavoidable. I wonder why they did choose to close the castle, the end of this week, rather than later in the year, after the cherry blossom, for example. completely unrelated to the castle really, but just across the moat is the new football stadium. I have to say, it's quite a while since I just wandered almost randomly around the castle grounds like this, and it's really quite pleasant. I'd sort of forgotten how, well, large and in a way how wild the grounds are. I'm really enjoying it actually. I'm glad that we'll still be able to do this even after the castle keep itself is closed. Just here at one corner of the castle grounds is a shrine called Gokoku Jinja, and well, we'll have a walk around and take a look at that in a few minutes, I think. So where I am now is one of the Yagura, the castle towers I talked about earlier in relation to the atomic bomb dome. Now actually this is the closest part of the castle to the atomic bomb dome, so I'm wondering whether this was actually the Yagura of Yagurashita, which was the original, or the name before 1945, of the tram stop. I'd never really considered that before, but it just might be, you know. Alright, let's wander around and take a little look at Gokoku Jinja, the shrine, before I go round to the last little bit of the castle, which is basically, sort of unfortunately in a way, the exit. I'm not really sure that this is an official way to get round to the shrine, but there is a path. People have obviously walked this way before, so I'm going to just follow what they've done and take this shortcut. Alright, that's about it for this video, I think, or at least it's about it for this part of the video. It seems that there might be some sort of illumination later on this evening, in which case I will stay, take some video, and add the video to the end of this one. But, well, anyway, for now, I will finish. So, thank you as ever for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little stroll around Hiroshima Castle. It is a sort of shame that the castle is closing, but as I say, I can see why. And if it's not safe in an earthquake, then obviously it needs to be closed. Anyway, please do leave a like or a comment if you visited, or if you enjoyed the video, or whatever. I hope to see you in another video very soon, but now, for the time being at least anyway, from Hiroshima Castle, goodbye. Alright, it's nearly 7 o'clock now, and it does look like there's some sort of illuminations at the castle, so I'm going to go and see. Alright, that really is it for this video. Thank you once again, and see you next time. Bye for now.